Before we start, if you enjoy the story, please leave a like and check if you're subscribed. The cargo bay smelled like recycled air and gun oil. Kai Drayton sat strapped into the drop harness, feeling the assault shuttle vibrate through his spine as it cut through Silva's upper atmosphere. His 3 teammates breathed steady combat rhythms across from him, faces hidden behind tactical visors. Between them, maglocked to the deck, sat the container. Matte black, 2 meters long, biohazard warnings stenciled in yellow. Kai checked his HUD. 7 minutes to insertion. The mission brief scrolled past his vision, words he'd memorized until they lost meaning. Silvari telepaths, psychic attacks, colonists driven to suicide, preemptive strike authorized. His jaw ached from clenching. He couldn't stop seeing the footage command had shown them, colonists screaming at nothing, clawing their own faces, throwing themselves from windows. The telepaths did that, Commander Cross said. They get inside your head and make you see hell. Through the viewport, Silva's surface shimmered below, forests with an odd crystalline quality like diamond-frosted trees. Beautiful. He'd destroyed prettier planets on orders that came with the same certainty. 5 minutes. The pilot's voice crackled through comm. Kai closed his eyes and imagined the colonist families they were protecting. Children who'd die if the Silvari launched their full offensive. It helped, a little. The alarm came without warning. Red light flooded the bay as systems shrieked in 4 different tones. Kai's harness dug into his shoulders as they lurched sideways, artificial gravity failing then slamming back too hard. His HUD exploded into cascading errors. Contact static. Something punched through the hull 3 meters from Kai's head, stars visible through ragged metal. Decompression alarm screaming. Emergency foam sprayed from the breach, but the shuttle was already spinning. Kai watched Rodriguez's harness fail, watched him slam against the container and stop moving. They were going down. The shuttle's spin turned from mechanical failure into gravity-assisted death spiral. Kai's training kicked in automatically. Check harness, secure weapon, prepare for impact. But his thoughts moved with strange clarity. The Silvari had hit them. He was going to die before delivering the payload that would have ended them. The container broke free from its maglocks, tumbling toward him in terrible slow motion. Then light, soft and blue, filtering through doubled vision and nausea. Kai's body felt wrong, disassembled, and rebuilt slightly off. He tried to move and pain lanced through ribs, leg, shoulder. Medical sensors beeped. He smelled antiseptic and something like ozone and flowers. Hands pressed against his chest. Clinical, precise. Kai's combat instinct screamed to move, to fight, but his body wouldn't obey. He forced his eyes to focus. Blue skin. The hands belonged to someone with skin like deep ocean water, luminous in the strange light. He followed the hands up slender arms to a face that made his tactical training stutter. High cheekbones, full lips, almost human but rendered in shades of blue and violet. Her eyes met his, large and expressive, shifting between purple and deeper blue. Her hair moved like it existed in lighter gravity, azure and white strands catching light. Her ears extended horizontally in elegant points. "You're awake," she said, accent careful. "Don't move. 3 broken ribs, fractured femur, concussion. You're fortunate, the webbing held." Kai's hand moved toward where his sidearm should be. Empty. Knife gone. Backup piece missing. He was unarmed in enemy hands, and she touched him with clinical detachment, 4-fingered hands checking pulse, adjusting an IV. "Your weapons are secured," she said without looking up. "You won't need them here." Kai forced his head to turn, medical bay, sophisticated equipment that looked more organic than mechanical, curved surfaces and blue-tinged lighting. Through an open doorway, other beds, other patients. Silvari patients. Burns across blue skin, blast injuries, shrapnel wounds. A young male missing his arm below the elbow, stump wrapped in glowing bandages. An older female with half her face covered in regenerative gel. Human weapons made those wounds. Kai recognized the signatures: plasma burns, flechette patterns, blast fragmentation. "What is this place?" His voice came out ruined. "A medical complex." The physician met his eyes, and Kai saw sadness, deep and old and heavy. "The only one left standing within 100 kilometers. Your people have been thorough." The door opened. Kai's attention snapped to the newcomer on instinct. Male Sylvari, tall and powerfully built, skin so dark blue it was nearly black, white hair in warrior braids, scarred face, missing left ear, burned tissue marking his head. He moved like a soldier. The male said something harsh in their language, eyes locked on Kai with pure hatred. The physician stood, placing herself between them, responding in the same tongue. Kai couldn't understand the words, but he understood the tone. She was defending him. The male wanted him dead. The argument escalated. Other Sylvari appeared, guards with modified human weapons. The male gestured at Kai, voice rising. The physicians remained level, but Kai saw tension in her shoulders, her clenched hands. Finally, the male spat something like a curse and stalked out. The guards followed slowly, eyes promising violence. The physician turned back. Her hands trembled as she resumed examination, but her voice stayed steady. "You should rest. Who are you?" She paused, fingertips on his wrist checking pulse. When she spoke, her voice carried weight beyond introduction. "My name is Lissa. I'm the physician who saved your life." She held his gaze. "Do you know what your people did to the settlement 5 kilometers from here last week, Lieutenant Drayton? Or do they not tell soldiers like you about the children?" Kai opened his mouth, closed it. He had no answer that didn't taste like ashes. That night, secured to the bed with restraints more symbolic than practical, he could break them if he chose, and Lissa knew it. Kai watched her work. She moved between patients with tireless dedication, four-fingered hands gentle as she changed dressings, adjusted medications, spoke soft words in her musical language. A young girl lay in the bed nearest Kai. Her skin was pale blue, almost gray. Lissa knelt beside her, fingers pressed to the child's temples, and Kai saw the physician's face transform. The professional mask cracked. Tears streamed down blue cheeks, silent and devastating. When Lissa finally stood, Kai made himself ask, "What's wrong with her?" Lissa's eyes met his across the dim bay. "Neural disruptor. Your weapon burns out telepathic ability. She'll live, but she'll never hear another mind again. For my people, that's a kind of death." She wiped her face. "She's 6 years old. She was playing in a garden when the strike hit." Kai felt something break inside his chest that had nothing to do with broken ribs. He turned away from Lissa's grief, from the evidence of what his war had done, and stared at the ceiling until exhaustion dragged him down into darkness, where he didn't have to think about the children. Elder Ceres came 3 days after the crash. The ancient Sylvari entered while Kai attempted physical therapy. Her skin was pale blue, nearly translucent, hair pure white. Milky eyes tracked him despite their blindness. "May I show you something true?" Her voice carried harmonics that made his teeth ache. Her hand touched his forehead. The world exploded into sensation. Sylvari minds reaching toward human ships, broadcasting peace. Desperate pleas translated into electromagnetic pulses. Not attacks. Communication attempts met with weapons fire. He saw through Sylvari eyes as human dropships descended to clear land for mining. Families torn apart. Children tested then discarded. Intelligence reports framing every cry for help as aggression. Commander Cross's voice echoed through memories. "Frame it as defense." Kai pulled away gasping. Ceres withdrew, expression gentle. "The truth is heavy, you needed to carry it." She left him shaking, everything he'd believed, shattered. Lissa allowed Kai outside the medical bay, always watched. He accompanied her through the refugee complex, each day stripping away Command's lies. Converted cargo containers stacked into housing, generators coughing smoke, children playing in alleys, adults watching with fear or resigned understanding. Lissa showed families who'd fled strip-mined wastelands. Medical records, respiratory diseases, radiation sickness, genetic damage. 30,000 inhabitants once, she said. 6,000 now. A young boy approached, skin bright blue, violet eyes curious. He said something in Sylvari. "He wants to know if you're the human who fell from the sky," Lissa translated. Kai knelt to his level. "Tell him I'm sorry I scared everyone." The boy giggled and offered a crystalline flower. Kai took it carefully, petals cool against his palm. "You're good with children," Lissa said. "Had a little sister, raiders killed her. He met her eyes. That's why I joined, to protect people who couldn't protect themselves." "And now?" Now I don't know who I was protecting them from. The supply run happened 4 days later. Lissa needed medications. Kai insisted on accompanying her despite resistance protests. The transport was a repurposed cargo hauler, hull pitted with scoring. Lissa drove while Kai watched crystalline forests pass, trees refracting sunlight into rainbows. "Does it hurt?" he asked. "The telepathy when you're around me." "You're loud, your emotions broadcast." "What am I broadcasting now?" "Guilt, confusion, fear, a pause, something else you're trying not to feel." The proximity alarm shrieked. Mercenaries came from 3 directions, weapons firing. Lissa threw the transport into evasive maneuvers, but plasma caught their thruster. They crashed hard into a crystal tree. Kai kicked the door open, grabbed Lissa, hauled her clear as fuel cells exploded. 6 mercenaries advanced through smoke, professional, well-armed. Kai's training took over. First mercenary down with crushed windpipe. Second caught his elbow in the temple. Others opened fire. Kai used a body as shield, threw it at 2 more, rolled and came up with a dropped rifle. Precision bursts through visors. The last one ran. Kai turned to find Lissa staring, violet eyes wide, blood streaking her blue skin. "You saved me." "Yeah." He dropped the rifle, suddenly aware of how she was looking at him, not with gratitude but something more complex. Fear mixed with fascination. "Why?" "Seemed right." They walked 2 hours to the settlement. On the return in a borrowed transport, she asked the question hanging between them. "Who are you, Kai Drayton?" He watched landscape pass, trees catching dying light. "I thought I was protecting humanity. Now I think I was just a weapon pointed where convenient." He looked at her. "I don't know anymore." "I know what you are." Color shifted in her cheeks, Silveri blushed blue, someone trying to be better than what they made you. Her hand found his across the seat, 4 fingers, 1 extra joint, different but warm. "What do your people believe about redemption?" "That it's possible for anyone brave enough to try." Her fingers tightened. "Even humans who fall carrying death." They found the crash site 2 days later. Theron's fighters had located the wreckage. Kai accompanied the salvage team through twisted metal. Rodriguez still in his harness, the new guy 30 meters away, neck broken. The bioweapon container was gone. "Corporate mercs hit every crash site," Theron said, scarred face grim. "Recover weapons, tech, anything valuable." Ice filled Kai's stomach. "If they activate without protocols..." "What happens?" Lissa asked. "Targets Silvari neurochemistry, aerosol dispersal, atmospheric spread, terminal within 72 hours. He met her eyes. "Would kill everything with your biology." Theron's hand went to his weapon. "You were bringing this." "I was following orders, protecting innocent people," Kai said quietly. "I was wrong." "Not enough." "No, but I can help find it before activation." That night, confined to a safe house while Theron's network searched, Kai and Lissa sat in darkness broken only by bioluminescent fungi glow. Guards outside. Nowhere to run. "Tell me about your family," she said. He did, Tau Ceti 3, his parents' greenhouse, his sister Anna who wanted to be a botanist, the raiders who killed them when he was 15. "I joined thinking it would mean something. Thought I could stop what happened to them from happening to others." "Instead you became the raiders," she said softly. "Yeah." Lissa moved closer in the darkness. Her hand found his face, fingertips tracing his jaw with that extra joint allowing impossible gentleness. He felt her telepathy brush his mind, questioning, asking permission. "I want to show you something, if you'll let me." He nodded, not trusting his voice. Her forehead pressed against his, and suddenly he felt what she felt, grief for her people, exhaustion from casualties, anger at injustice, and underneath, terrifying, her attraction to him. The enemy soldier who'd become something else, who'd killed for her, chosen her truth over orders. "I shouldn't feel this," she whispered, aloud and telepathically. "You came to end my species." "I'm not that person anymore, don't know if I ever was." He kissed her, human and desperate, unable to express through telepathy what burned in his chest. She kissed back with surprising intensity, her different biology making everything new and perfect. When they broke apart, breathing hard, her eyes had shifted to deep violet, emotion made visible. Dr. Park's transmission came at 300 hours, emergency priority, crackling with encryption breaks. Kai listened to the xenobiologist's terrified voice delivering information that turned his blood to ice. Commander Cross had deployed a second bioweapon payload. Mira Voss's mercenaries had located Kai's original container. 2 extinction-level attacks would hit Silva in 72 hours. Cross had authorized killing Kai to prevent interference. Kai looked at Lissa across the dark room, her blue skin luminous with bioluminescence, her expression already understanding what he was about to say. "We have to stop this," he said, "both payloads." "I know," she took his hand, "even if it kills us." The emergency council convened at dawn in a converted cargo bay that served as Theron's command center. 20 resistance fighters crowded the space, their blue faces marked by exhaustion and loss. Kai stood at center, feeling their eyes like weapons against his skin. "Execute him," a young fighter said, voice raw with grief. "He came here to kill us all." "He saved my life," Lissa said from beside Kai. "He's fighting for us now." "How do we know this isn't a trap?" Theron growled, pacing the perimeter. "That he won't lead us into ambush the moment we trust him?" Kai met his eyes. "You don't. But I know human military protocols. I can get you inside those mercenary compounds. I can help you stop both payloads before activation." "Or get half our fighters killed trying," Theron said. "Then send me alone. If I fail, you've lost nothing but the human you wanted dead anyway." Elder Saris entered, her ancient presence silencing arguments. She moved to Kai, placed her hand against Kai's forehead, and he felt her telepathy wash through him, gentle, examining. She withdrew and turned to face the council. "This human carries great conflict," she said, her voice resonating with harmonics. "But his choice is made. He has turned against his own people to stand with ours. His sincerity runs deeper than survival instinct." "Respectfully, Elder," Theron said, "sincerity doesn't stop bioweapons." "No, but it makes him our ally rather than our prisoner. We need both if we're to survive the next 70 hours. The council granted consensus. Kai would lead the assault on Mira Voss's compound, where his original payload was being prepared. 12 fighters, Theron among them, would accompany him. "If you betray us," Theron said in the armory, "I'll kill you myself." "Fair enough," Kai said, checking his rifle. Lissa found him as the team prepared, her medical kit slung across her shoulder. "You're not coming," Kai said. "I'm the team medic." Her violet eyes challenged him. "Unless you'd prefer they bleed out?" He wanted to argue, wanted her somewhere safe, but he saw determination in her expression. "Stay behind me," he said. "Stay alive," she countered. The mercenary compound sat 15 kilometers south, a former mining facility converted to fortress. Prefab walls topped with turrets, guard towers at corners. Kai counted 30 mercs on patrol. "Main gate's a kill box," he told Theron. "Eastern drainage tunnel will get us inside. I can bypass the sensors." "You're very confident. I helped design these facilities before I knew what they'd be used for." They moved at nightfall. Kai led through the drainage tunnel, disabling sensors by muscle memory. The tunnel opened into storage bays and maintenance corridors, smelling of machine oil and cordite. A merc patrol rounded a corner at the wrong moment. Kai dropped the first 2. Theron's fighters took the others, but alarms shrieked, and stealth was gone. They fought through 3 levels, combat vicious and close. Kai moved on instinct, covering Lissa as she dragged wounded fighters to safety and worked under fire. Her telepathy sensed enemy positions, calling warnings that saved lives. Mira Voss met them in the bioweapon storage bay, scarred, augmented, utterly without mercy. Her prosthetic arm raised a plasma cannon. "Drayton," she grinned, "command's paying extra for your corpse." The firefight was chaos. Voss's guards were augmented. Faster, stronger. Kai took a flechette round to his shoulder, protecting Theron. Lissa reached him as he staggered, hands already treating the wound despite combat raging around them. Her telepathy flooded him with concern. "I'm fine," he said through gritted teeth. "You're bleeding everywhere." Theron flanked Voss while she focused on Kai, his rifle finding gaps in her armor. She went down hard, augmented limbs spasming. The bioweapon container sat on a transport pallet. Kai limped to it, blood trailing across deck, and initiated abort sequence with codes Command never imagined he'd use against them. The container vented, payload neutralized. One down, Kai said, swaying, one to go. They lost 8 fighters escaping, carried 3 wounded. Theron carried 2 fighters himself, his dark blue skin marked with burns. Back at Command Center, Theron found Kai in medical bay while Lissa treated his shoulder. My family died in the settlement 5 kilometers from here, Theron said. Human orbital strike, my wife, my daughters, 3 and 7 years old. His scarred face was rigid. I wanted you dead since you arrived. Kai met his eyes. I understand. But you took that round for me. Theron's hand clenched his rifle. Lissa's family were nobles, peace delegation. They traveled to Earth seeking diplomatic contact 15 years ago. He paused. Corporate agents killed them all, framed it as Sylvari aggression to justify the war. The words hit Kai like physical blows. He looked at Lissa, saw the grief she'd carried alone. You never told me. Would it have changed anything? Her hands continued working, steady despite tears on blue cheeks. You were already trying to be better. Dr. Park's second transmission came an hour later, encrypted coordinates for Cross's orbital platform where the second payload was being prepared. Security details. Guard rotations. It's a suicide mission, Park said. Platform's heavily defended, but I've identified a vulnerability in the docking bay. You'll need a human operator to bypass security and a Sylvari telepath to disable crew long enough to reach the bioweapon. A pause. I'm sorry, Kai. This was my project. I have to make it right. Kai studied schematics. Park was correct. Infiltration required both human credentials and telepathic manipulation. Him and Lissa, alone, against an entire platform of soldiers ordered to kill him on sight. When do we leave? Lissa asked. 6 hours, we'll need prep time. That night, Lissa took him to the crystalline forests beyond the refugee complex. The trees glowed faintly in the darkness, their structures resonating with telepathic energy that hummed at the edge of Kai's perception. My people's consciousness first evolved here, she said, walking among the crystals. These forests amplify telepathic connection, let us share memories across generations. She turned to face him. When the war ends, if we survive, most of this will be gone. Kai pulled her close, his wounded shoulder protesting. Then we make sure something survives to remember it. She pressed her forehead to his and opened her telepathy completely. He felt not just her emotions but her memories. Childhood among these trees, learning to hear the thoughts of her people, the joy of connection, the agony of watching it severed by human weapons. And deeper, he felt her love for him, terrifying in its intensity. If we die tomorrow, she whispered, I'm grateful I met you. Grateful you showed me humans could be more than destroyers. We're not dying tomorrow, Kai said, knowing it was likely a lie. We're stopping Cross, saving your people, and figuring out what comes after. They made love in the crystal grove, desperate and tender, 2 beings from different worlds finding connection in the space between extinction and hope. Her luminous blue skin against his, her telepathy flooding him with sensation beyond what human bodies could express alone. When they returned to Command Center before dawn, Theron intercepted them. My network intercepted Cross's communications, he said grimly. She knows about Lissa's importance to the Resistance. She knows about you two. He met Kai's eyes. The bioweapon's real, but it's also bait. Cross is bringing enhanced neural weapons designed to kill telepaths. This mission is a trap designed for both of you. Kai felt the bottom drop from his stomach. Lissa's hand found his. Doesn't change what we have to do, she said quietly. No, Kai agreed, looking at Theron, but it means we need a better plan than a frontal assault. Good, Theron said, expression resolute, because I'm coming with you. The orbital platform loomed against the stars like a predator waiting. Kai piloted the stolen transport through the approach vector, his military credentials broadcasting clearance, while Lissa sat beside him, her telepathy clouding traffic controllers' minds. They're accepting our IFF, Kai said, watching the docking bay door's iris open. Your telepathy's working. For now, Lissa's violet eyes darkened with concentration. There are hundreds of minds on this station. I can make them see what we need, but it won't hold long. Theron crouched in the cargo bay, weapons ready. How long? 30 minutes if we're lucky. They docked without incident. Kai led them inside wearing his old uniform. Lissa walked beside him in stolen medical fatigues, blue skin hidden beneath cosmetics. Theron moved rear, dressed as corporate security. Crew members passed without a glance, minds touched by Lissa's telepathy. "Bioweapons in the launch bay," Kai said, checking Park's schematics, 3 levels up through security. The checkpoint was manned by 4 guards with neural scanners and plasma rifles. Kai's heart hammered as they approached. If Lissa's telepathy failed here, they'd be cut down instantly. The guards waved them through, eyes glazed with telepathic suggestion. One nodded at Kai's rank insignia. They were inside. The launch bay was massive, designed for planetary bombardment weapons and orbital strike packages. In the center, maglocked to a deployment cradle, sat the bioweapon container, just 2 meters of sealed metal that would kill millions. And surrounding it were Miravas's mercenaries, 20 of them, heavily armed and augmented, waiting. "It's a trap," Theron said. "Always was," Kai replied, raising his rifle. The firefight erupted. Mercenaries opened fire from elevated positions, plasma bolts scorching air. Kai dove behind cargo crates, returning fire. Theron moved like water, eliminating threats with brutal efficiency. Lissa used her telepathy as weapon, reaching into mercenary minds and flooding them with disorienting images. 2 mercs turned weapons on each other. Another dropped his rifle and stumbled away, mind overwhelmed. But augmented soldiers had neural shielding. 6 converged on Lissa's position, recognizing the telepathic threat. Kai fought his way toward her, dropping mercs with precision shots. A neural disruptor blast caught him full in the chest. Pain exploded through his nervous system, every nerve ending firing at once. Kai went down hard, body seizing, vision tunneling to white. Through agony, he heard Lissa scream his name, felt her hands on his face, her telepathy flooding into his mind, trying to hold him together while his brain shorted out. The disruptor would have killed her, would have burned out every telepathic pathway in her mind. But human brains weren't wired for telepathy, and Kai's nervous system could withstand what would have been lethal to Sylvari. Through seizure haze, he watched Lissa drag his convulsing body toward the bioweapon, while Theron held the perimeter, his rifle dropping mercs faster than their augments could compensate. Commander Cross's voice echoed through bay speakers. "Touching Drayton, protecting the alien, but you're finished." Emergency bulkheads began sealing. "Surrender the telepath, and I'll ensure you receive medical treatment. Refuse, and you both die when I vent the bay to space." Kai tried to speak, but his jaw wouldn't unclench. Through the telepathic connection Lissa maintained, he felt her terror, not for herself, but for him. The abort sequence he managed through gritted teeth. "You need my authorization." Lissa's hands moved across his face with impossible gentleness. "Tell me what to do." He did, forcing words through neural disruption. She manipulated the bioweapon interface with telepathic precision, following his instructions, her hands steady despite tears streaming down her blue cheeks. The container began its abort sequence, venting safeties, neutralizing payload. Cross-triggered manual decompression. Atmospheric alarms shrieked as the bay vented to vacuum. Kai felt the pull of escaping air, watched equipment tumble toward opening bay doors and stars beyond. His body was still seizing, useless, and Lissa was holding him while the station tried to kill them both. Then her telepathy exploded outward with desperate strength. She reached every mind on the platform, crew, soldiers, technicians, and forced them to witness what the bioweapon would do. Made them feel through her memories, the children dying, the families torn apart, the genocide they were enabling, raw emotional truth that burned through neural shielding and protocol. The platform's crew mutinied in real time. Engineering cut power to bay decompression. Security teams abandoned posts. Officers refused Cross's orders, confronting her with evidence of what they'd almost done. And Dr. Park, who'd secretly boarded hours earlier, broadcast everything. Every classified file, every corporate manipulation, every falsified intelligence report. He sent it to every channel in the system, ending the lies that made genocide possible. Emergency bulkheads sealed. Atmosphere stabilized. But Commander Cross personally entered the bay through maintenance hatch, neural weapons raised, and the fanaticism of someone whose entire identity was collapsing, burning in her cold blue eyes. "You've destroyed everything," she said, advancing on Lissa. "Years of planning. Billions in contracts. Human expansion across the Outer Rim." "You mean genocide," Kai said, his voice returning as neural disruption faded. "You mean profit built on mass murder." Cross aimed her weapon at Lissa. "The Sylvari are a threat, and if I have to prove it by making their telepath into a martyr." Theron's shot took her through the head. The resistance leader lowered his rifle, scarred face showing no emotion. "For my daughters, and for the peace they'll never see." Kai looked up at him from where he lay in Lissa's arms. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet, we still have to get off this station alive." But they did. The crew, confronted with truth they could no longer deny, let them leave. Some even helped providing transport back to Silva. Dr. Park didn't make it out. Corporate agents found him before evacuation, but his final transmission had already spread too far to contain. The truth was out. 6 months later, Kai testified via holostream at the War Crimes Tribunal, dismantling the corporate interests that engineered the Sylvari genocide. His voice steady, his evidence irrefutable, his transformation from soldier to witness impossible to ignore. When the session concluded, Lissa joined him in the diplomatic apartment they shared on Earth's orbital station, a space between worlds fitting for two people who'd found each other across species. She wore human clothing now, though her blue skin and pointed ears drew stares, some hateful, some curious, some cautiously hopeful. "How did it go?" she asked, settling beside him on the observation deck where they could see both Earth and stars beyond. "They'll convict," Kai said. "Cross's files are too damning. The corporations will face justice." He took her hand, feeling the extra joint in her fingers he'd come to love. "It won't bring back the dead, won't undo the damage." "No," Lissa agreed, "but it means something that humans are willing to face what they did, willing to choose justice over profit." "Some humans," Kai said. "Some is enough to build on." She pressed her forehead to his in the Sylvari bonding gesture, her telepathy flooding him with love she couldn't fully express in words. Then she kissed him in the human way, her different biology making it new each time. Through their connection, he felt what she felt. The grief that would never fully heal, but also hope. Hope that love could be the choice that redefined everything. That two beings from worlds at war could choose each other and make that choice mean something. Outside their window, Earth turned slowly beneath them, and somewhere beyond the stars, Silva was healing, slowly, painfully, but healing. It wasn't the ending either of them expected when Kai fell from the sky carrying death, but it was the one they'd chosen together, and that made it real.